What if the system does not fail to solve chaos? What if chaos is the business model? What if terrorism, proxy wars, drug addiction, debt traps, broken borders, surveillance, and fear are not always accidents? What if powerful systems sometimes need a monster so they can sell you the cage? That sounds extreme. So let's not start with opinion, let's start with history, because once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. One Piece fans already understand this emotionally. A small group at the top, a world government, 5 elders, celestial dragons. Rules for everyone else, exceptions for the powerful. Attack on Titan fans understand walls. People born inside borders they never chose. Taught to fear the other side. Taught a history written by the winners. Naruto fans understand the cycle of hatred. One war creates trauma. Trauma becomes revenge. Revenge creates another war. And the next generation inherits a fight it never started. Now look at the real world, different names, same pattern. My name is Muhammad Qureshi. I am a 25-year-old Islamic scholar from Pakistan, Deputy Imam of Masjid Inabi Qureshi, Hashmi, Islamabad, AI researcher, calisthenics lover, creator of my own open source JARVIS, and I am building toward a global AI decentralized governance system with AI and blockchain. But this video is not about me. This is about the system that trained you to believe your problems are natural when many of them were designed. Part 1. The First Empire Drug Business. Let's start with Britain and China. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Britain wanted Chinese tea, silk, and porcelain. But China did not need enough British goods in return, so silver flowed into China. That was a problem for British trade. And then came one of the darkest business models in modern history, opium. British merchants expanded opium from India into China. Chinese society was damaged by addiction. Silver started flowing out. When China tried to stop the trade, Britain went to war. That was the Opium War. Not a war for freedom, not a war for human rights, a war to protect a drug trade and force open markets. This is the colonial OS in its purest form. If the market does not want your product, create dependency. If the government resists, send the navy. If the people suffer, call it trade. The system creates the wound, then sells itself as the surgeon. Part 2. Colonialism was not only land theft, it was system design. Most people think colonialism means one country occupying another country, but colonialism was much deeper than that. It was an operating system, a colonial OS. It redesigned education, police, courts, tax, borders, identity, language, administration, and even how colonized people saw themselves. The East India Company was not just a company. It had armies, it collected taxes, it influenced courts, it shaped governance. A private company turned regions into revenue machines. And when governance runs like a company, human beings become costs. Farmers become revenue. Students become clerks. Police become enforcement. Courts become procedure. Land becomes asset. People become data. Then came Macaulay's education policy. The British did not need every Indian to become a free thinker. They needed intermediaries. People Indian in blood and color, but trained to think, speak, and administer through the colonial mindset. That is why so much of our education still feels like a clerk factory. Bell rings, sit down, memorize, repeat, obey, pass, get a certificate, serve the system. Do not question who designed it. And this is why today, even after independence, many countries changed flags, but kept the software. Same files, same permissions, same fear of officers, same distance between citizen and state. Same idea that the public exists to obey, not to decide. Part 3. Borders as walls. Now look at borders. Attack on Titan made this easy to understand. Walls can protect, but walls can also hide truth. Many modern borders were drawn by empires. Some split communities, some trapped rivals together, some planted future wars. Pakistan and India are not simply two countries that randomly became enemies. The colonial exit created borders, trauma, migration, mass violence, and permanent security fear. The Middle East borders were also shaped by imperial agreements and strategic interests. Across Africa, borders often cut through ethnic, linguistic, and resource realities. And when those walls remain, the hatred becomes permanent. One generation bleeds, the next generation remembers. Politicians use the memory. Arms companies sell the weapons. Budgets move from schools to defense. And ordinary people are told, your poverty can wait, your hospital can wait, your education can wait, because the enemy is at the wall. This is Naruto's cycle of hatred in real life. And the most dangerous question is not, who is my enemy? The most dangerous question is, who profits from me having an enemy? Part 4. Proxy wars, when states outsource violence. Now let's talk about the part most people avoid. Governments do not always fight directly. Sometimes they outsource conflict. They support proxies, militias, rebels, insurgents, armed networks. Sometimes they call them freedom fighters, sometimes terrorists, sometimes partners, sometimes assets. The label often depends on who benefits. During the Soviet-Afghan War, the United States, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and others backed Afghan Mujahideen against the Soviet-backed Afghan government. Important correction. This was not America backed the Taliban against Russia. The Taliban formed later in 1994. But the proxy war environment, weapons, ideology, refugee networks, intelligence games, and regional militarization helped create the conditions from which later militancy emerged. That is blowback. A monster created for one war does not disappear when the war ends, it mutates. Nicaragua gives another example. The International Court of Justice found that the United States violated international law by training, arming, equipping, financing, and supplying counterforces. This is not TikTok conspiracy, this is court record. And the pattern is simple. A powerful state wants influence. Direct war is expensive, so it uses local armed groups. If they win, the sponsor gains influence. If they lose, the sponsor denies responsibility. Either way, civilians pay. Part 5. Iraq and the lie that broke a region. Then comes Iraq. The world was told Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. That became the justification for invasion. Years later, the Iraq Survey Group did not find militarily significant WMD stockpiles. Even Donald Trump, in a 2016 Republican debate, said, "We should have never been in Iraq, and we have destabilized the Middle East." Now stop and think. A war is launched, a country is shattered, hundreds of thousands suffer directly and indirectly. The region destabilizes, extremist groups grow in the chaos, private contractors profit, oil politics shift, and years later, the justification collapses. But who gets punished? Do the architects lose their homes? Do the children get their parents back? Do the refugees get their childhood back? No, the system says mistakes were made, and then it moves on to the next crisis. That is why ordinary people no longer trust global governance speeches, because the same powers that say rules-based order often decide when the rules apply. Part 6, Strategic Assets and the Middle East. Now listen to this carefully. Joe Biden said in 1986 that if Israel did not exist, the United States would have to invent an Israel to protect U.S. interests in the region. That does not mean ordinary Israeli or Jewish people are the enemy. Never make that mistake. People are not the system, but the quote reveals how superpowers think. They think in strategic assets, oil routes, military bases, regional leverage, choke points, alliances, pressure points. So when people ask, why does a country 7 seas away keep interfering in the Middle East? The answer is not emotion, it is geography, energy, military projection, dollar power, arms markets, regional control. And every time the region tries to stand on its own feet, another crisis appears. Sometimes from inside, sometimes from outside, sometimes through dictators, sometimes through militias, sometimes through sanctions, sometimes through invasions, sometimes through democracy promotion. Different language, same result, the region remains dependent, divided, and militarized. Part 7. Sudan, gold, and the new resource wars. Now move to Sudan. The Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, have been accused by human rights groups of horrifying atrocities. Reports, lawmakers, and UN-linked findings have raised concerns about alleged UAE support to the RSF, including weapons and logistics. The UAE denies arming either side. So we must say this carefully. These are serious allegations, reported by credible institutions, with denials from the UAE. But the bigger pattern is not new. Sudan has gold. Gold moves through global markets. Militias need money. External powers want influence. War creates access, and civilians become invisible. This is how resource politics works in weak states. The world says tragedy, but the supply chains say business. That is the horror. The minerals in your phone, the gold in markets, the oil in tanks, the cobalt in batteries, the data in AI. Behind every modern lifestyle, there is a shadow question. Whose land was destabilized so this could become cheap? Part 8, UN, IMF, World Bank, the 5 elders layer. After World War II, the winners built the global order. The UN, the IMF, the World Bank. On paper, peace, development, stability, cooperation. And yes, these institutions have done real work. This is not cartoon villain analysis. But structure matters. At the UN Security Council, 5 permanent members have veto power. 1 negative vote can block action. That is why the One Piece 5 elders metaphor hits so hard. A small permanent group can freeze the world. Then finance. The IMF and World Bank came from the Bretton Woods system. When countries are in crisis, they borrow. But loans often come with conditions. Cut spending, raise taxes, privatize, reform, stabilize. Sometimes reform is necessary, but the question is, who carries the pain? The elite who signed the deal, or the poor family paying more for food, electricity, fuel, school, and medicine? This is why we need public AI. Every citizen should be able to ask, what does this loan mean for my life? Who benefits? Who pays? What are the alternatives? Where is the money going? And we need blockchain public ledgers so public money does not disappear into PDFs and press conferences. Part 9. Media gave voice, not power. Then came the internet. For a moment, it felt like freedom. Anyone could speak, anyone could post, anyone could expose corruption, anyone could go viral. But then platforms became the new gatekeepers. Algorithms decide what spreads. Entertainment spreads, anger spreads, shallow conflict spreads. But deep system building content struggles. Because platforms do not profit from your freedom, they profit from your attention. Social media gave you voice, it did not give you power. You can post about corruption, but can you vote on the budget? You can expose a broken road, but can you track the contractor? You can trend a hashtag, but can you veto the corrupt project? No, you are allowed to react, they keep execution. That is the missing layer. The next internet must not only connect attention, it must connect action. Post to proposal, proposal to AI explanation, explanation to public discussion, discussion to vote, vote to transparent funding, funding to live tracking, tracking to accountability. That is the upgrade. Part 10. AI is the final four. Now the biggest danger, AI. The real danger is not robots waking up. The real danger is AI in the wrong hands. AI can summarize, classify, predict, monitor, persuade, generate propaganda, rank citizens, score risk, automate bureaucracy, guide weapons, control feeds. If AI is controlled by a few corporations and states, then the old system gets the strongest tool in history. The same system that controlled land, then trade, then borders, then money, then media, now wants to control intelligence itself. And we are already seeing AI become geopolitics. Advanced chips are restricted, data centers are strategic assets, AI models are treated like national security infrastructure. Governments want control, corporations want monopoly, and ordinary people are told, just consume the app. No, this generation cannot just consume AI. We have to own, build, audit, and decentralize it. Part 11. Why Gen Z is different. Previous generations were easier to trap. They had one newspaper, one textbook, one TV channel, one national story, one official truth. But Gen Z has the internet, social media, anime, AI, blockchain, open source tools, fitness culture, global friendships, multiple POVs. This generation can watch One Piece and understand world government, watch Attack on Titan and understand borders, watch Naruto and understand inherited hatred, use AI and understand how knowledge can be democratized, use blockchain and understand how trust can be redesigned, do calisthenics and understand self-mastery without dependence. This generation is not fully controllable anymore. That is why the next battle is not only political, it is informational, psychological, technological, spiritual, physical. If your body is weak, your attention is weak. If your attention is weak, your mind is programmable. If your mind is programmable, your vote is manageable. That is why I talk about calisthenics too. Self-control is the first revolution. Community control is the next. Part 12, JARVIS as proof. This is why I built my own JARVIS, not to show off, to prove something. A single person with AI can multiply their ability. JARVIS talks to me, listens, controls my PC, tracks information, manages tasks, works with memory, helps automate workflows. Imagine a citizen reading a 500-page law. AI explains it. A community reviewing a local budget. AI simplifies it. A young person receiving a court notice. AI explains rights and next steps. A society deciding a water project. AI compares cost, risk, timeline, and impact. But AI does not decide. People decide. AI assists, blockchain records, community audits. That is the difference. AI as ruler is dangerous. AI as public assistant is liberation. So what is the alternative? A global AI decentralized governance system. Not chaos, not anarchy, not anti-government madness, a better operating system for public coordination. Every community has a hub. For Muslims, the mosque can become a living community center again, inspired by the Masjid Nabawi model. Learning, consultation, welfare, justice, training, service, action. For others, it can be a school, church, temple, civic center, or community hub. The physical center builds trust. The digital platform builds coordination. Here is the loop. A problem appears. People submit evidence. AI summarizes the issue. AI explains options. Community discusses. People vote. Funds are collected transparently. Blockchain records every transaction. Project progress is tracked live. Citizens audit the result. Skills and services connect locally. Reputation is based on contribution, not likes, not followers, impact. This is how we move from social media to social action, from voice to power. Part 14, gaming education. Now education. The old system made clerks. The new system must make builders. There are billions of gamers in the world. Imagine if even a small percentage of that energy went into solving real problems. A simulation game with real physics. Real city planning, real climate systems, real water purification, real disaster response, real engineering, real governance. AI mentors guide players. Players form teams. Teams test ideas. The best solutions become real-world proposals. Gaming becomes education. Education becomes problem solving. Problem solving becomes civic contribution. Gamers become scientists. Players become builders. This is not fantasy. This is the direction education must move in if humanity wants to survive the AI age. Part 15. The crew. I know this sounds big, too big. People will say, who are you? A 25-year-old imam, an AI researcher, a creator, a calisthenics guy? How will you challenge a global system? And my answer is simple. I am not saying I have all the answers. I am saying I refuse to stay silent. I refuse to scroll while the world burns. I refuse to only complain. I want to build. And every real mission needs a crew. Luffy did not challenge the world government alone. He built a crew. I need coders, AI learners, blockchain developers, designers, researchers, filmmakers, editors, animators, educators, legal minds, economists, community organizers, calisthenics creators, anime storytellers, investors, and believers. People who understand that the current system is not the final form of humanity. People who know nationalism should never become bigger than humanity. People who know borders should not become bigger than human life. People who know technology should not become a new empire. People who know AI should not be a private weapon. People who know blockchain should not be only trading. People who know this generation can build better. Final CTA. This is the thesis. The system does not always fail to solve chaos. Sometimes chaos is useful. The monster justifies the cage creates the market funds the empire, and the empire tells you there is no alternative. But now there is. AI as public assistant, blockchain as public memory, community as power, gaming as education, Jarvis as first proof, local to global governance as the roadmap. This is our real-life One Piece journey. We are not waiting for one hero. We are building the crew. Comment crew if you understand the mission. Comment build if you want to build. Comment Jarvis if you want the AI workflows. And follow the journey, because the old system was built by humans, so the next one can be built by us. Let's build.